Welcome back to this faint-hearted episode of Talking Lamar. Today, I'm talking about what made me hate horror movies so much. Let's get to it.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about.
What are you talking about?
I am talking to you.
That's just what I was talking about.
It's Talking Lamar.
You know, when I was little, back in the day, and still living in the single wide, my brother Troy loved to watch horror movies and stuff. He always watched Shock Theater on Saturday afternoons. Now, I don't know if this came on, Max, where you lived or whatever, but here, every Saturday afternoon, it was Shock Theater, and it had all the old horror movies. And I wanted to watch it with him, but I was absolutely terrified. I would sit with him on the couch. I had a pillow firmly in my lap, holding on to it. And when the music changed to that creepy tune that meant the monster was about to show up, I would cover my face and I would hum so I couldn't see or hear what was going on. Now, sometimes I would work up the courage to peek. And when I did, I wished I hadn't, because I'd just catch a glimpse of maybe Dracula or the Wolfman or the creature from the Black Lagoon. And that is all I could see when I went to bed that night. And I hated those movies, but I loved to sit beside Troy and try my best to watch them. I mean, he didn't help things because he knew how skittish I was. And normally later that night, Mom would put me in the tub before I went to bed, and she would leave me in there to soak. And I'd be playing in the water, acting like I was swimming and, all kinds of stuff. And I would hear this stomp, boom. Then about 30 seconds later, I would hear another one, boom. 30 seconds later, another one, boom, coming down the hall. And I knew it was Troy. I knew it because he's trying to scare me. And I would call out and I'd say, Troy, I know it's you. Now, you got to say something. You got to stop this. Boom, another stomp. And I would try again. Troy, stop it. I mean it now. Stop doing that. Another stomp. Boom. Then he would stop at the door and not come in. He wouldn't make a sound. And then there would be this heavy breathing. And he'd make the sound in his throat. Then he would put his hand around the edge of the door with his fingers spread out, all weird and crinkled up. You know what I'm saying? Like a claw-like. Sometimes he'd even put on a glove. And this glove would come around the corner. And I'm screaming, I know it's you, Troy. I know, you better answer me. He would not say a word. And eventually I'd hear Mama holler, Troy, damn it, that's enough. He'll have bad dreams and wet the bed. Then we're going to see how funny you think it is. Because we slept in the same bed. And when I wet the bed, it wasn't good for him because he was heavier than me. And the water rolls downhill, So it was just, this was going on all the time. So early on, I had this love-hate relationship with horror movies. Now, I'm a grown-ass man, and I still close my eyes at the scary parts in horror movies. When I had to go see, when I was reviewing all the Saw movies, I bet you I heard only about 60%. All I heard was a sound because I had my eyes closed anytime that was going. I still do it. I don't like it. I don't like the jump scares. I mean, I freak out. I really do. And I blame this all on my brother. But I told you that so you understand my mindset. I'm scared of the dark. Always have been. I don't ever go into a dark room right now without reaching in, finding the light switch and turning it on. It's just automatic for me. I don't walk into a dark place. I just don't. So when I'm 16 in high school in Hartwell, The Exorcist comes out. And this is the biggest thing going on. I mean, everybody's talking about it. Everybody wants to see it. Not so much me, but every friend I've got. That's all they want to talk about. So 3 of my friends and me, we agree to go. I got no choice now. I got to go. So we have to drive from Hartwell, Georgia, over to Anderson, South Carolina. It's about a 30-minute drive. That's the closest theater. And back then, there wasn't multiplexes. I mean, there was one screen, a really big theater, but one screen. And so the line would wrap around, if it was a big hit like this or like Jaws or something like that, It would wrap around from the front of the theater all the way down the block. I mean, it was, and you had to stand out there in the cold or whatever. And everybody's all psyched up. And I mean, listen, I was excited too, but I was very apprehensive because all I heard about this was it was terrifying. It was just, horrible.
Yeah.
So I'm with my buddies. I'm hoping it's going to be cool. So we go in, we get popcorn and everything. We sit down and movie starts, and it doesn't take long. I'm seeing that I'm not going to be happy with this. I'm just not. It's not long before she starts, acting up, and they get her in the hospital, and then they bring her home, and all of a sudden now she's vomiting that pea soup all over the place. Her head's spinning, and I'm wishing I had my pillow back. If I just had my pillow back, all I had between me and the devil is a popcorn box, and I was keeping it in the front of my face. I'm peeping around the corner every once in a while, and I'm trying not to make a big deal about it, but my buddies, their eyes are glued to the screen, so they're not paying attention to me. And when that devil's voice started coming out of her, I was done. I was done. Because this ain't no vampire. This ain't no Frankenstein. This ain't the creature from the Black Lagoon. This is Satan.
Devil.
And they ain't no monster. They ain't no bad guy in his league. I don't care who, whatever. This is the bad guy of all bad guys. And if I could have gotten out of that theater and drove home, I would have. But I would have never lived it down. And my buddies is there. So when they started the exorcism, listen, I was freaking out. When it got to the exorcism, I got my popcorn box, I got it pressed against my face, and I'm right with that priest. When he gets to the Lord's Prayer, I'm sitting there going, "My Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom." I mean, I'm going every word for word, because me and that priest, we're getting rid of the devil. We are getting him gone. He's got to go. And the priest needed my help. And oh my gosh, I want this devil to get out of this girl and get back to hell where he's supposed to be. When the movie was finally over, I have never been so glad in my life. I was sweating. I was drained. I don't know what the priest went through, but I was drained when we got this devil exorcised out. I mean, it was horrible. And so on the way home, though, we are having the best time talking about it, because now I'm out. Everything's good. And we're laughing about the scary parts, and we're talking about all the, we're reliving everything. And it was great until I dropped everybody off and I headed home. I've got 12 miles that I got to drive out in the country in the dark at 11 o'clock by myself. It has never been so far to get to the house. I could not get home fast enough. If my car would have broke down or I had a flat tire, well, if I had a flat tire, I'd have drove it on the rim. But if I'd have broke down, I think I'd have had a heart attack in that car by myself, because there's no cell phone, there's no nothing. And so as I'm driving down the road, I refused to allow myself to look into the rearview mirror, because I knew if I looked in that rearview mirror, I would see that possessed face of Linda Blair smiling at me with them messed up teeth. Because the makeup job they did on her to this day it's the best I've ever seen. I mean, the best I've ever seen. So when I come around the curve at the top of the hill where I can see my house, there's not a light on nowhere. There's not a porch light. There's not a light on. It's nothing but dark. And so I drove in the driveway and I'm looking. And so I drive my car up, and I don't want to go through the carport because I have to park outside the carport because there's a car and a truck in there. If I have to walk through the carport, there's plenty of places that something could be hiding and it could get me before I get to the door. So I don't want to get trapped in there. So I pull up in the front yard as close as I can possibly be. I think I probably clipped a few flowers, and Mom was pretty ticked off about that, but I got as close as I could. And I'm sitting outside, and I sat in the car for a few minutes because I wanted to get myself ready, because I got to leap up the stairs to the front door. I got 3 steps to go up. I've got the key out. Now I'm trying to remember, is the key go in with the teeth up or the teeth down? Because I ain't got no time to be fumbling with that. I've got to get. I'm freaking out. And so I get ready and I hit the door and I get up there. I've got the teeth up. I was exactly right. The key goes in. I turn it. I'm in. I slung the door wide open. I get in there. I slam the door. I lock the door. I turn all the living room lights on. I get to the hallway. I turn all the lights on. I reach back and I turn off the living room lights. I'm going down the hallway. The lights are on. I get to the bedroom. I'm turning everything on. By this time, I've made so much noise and I got all the lights on. I woke up my mama. She's like, "What's going on? What are you doing?" I said, Nothing. Don't worry about it. I'm home. I'm getting ready to get to bed. So I go in and I was trying to figure out, I knew that I could get in the bed and I could take a shoe and throw it up to the light switch and knock off the lights. But then I decided I didn't want to sleep with the lights off. I slept with the lights on in my room for the next 2 nights. And I would get under the cover and I would fix an air hole in the blankets around my mouth so I could breathe. And that's how I slept for 2 nights. That remains to this day. It is the scariest movie I have ever seen. It's the scariest movie for me that has ever been made. I've never watched it again. I will never watch it again. I will not. I mean,
I have your back. I read the book before I saw the movie.
Yeah.
I started reading it. I was a teenager, I think. I started reading it at about 11 o'clock at night. I stayed up all night, finished it at about 7:30 the next morning, and like you, did not sleep without a light on afterward for a while.
I got it. I mean, it was unbelievable. They hit everything exactly right. They had the exact right actors. They had everything. I mean, it was terrifying. Max, did you see it?
So I did see it, and I watched it one time with my roommate. And so the beginning of the movie, as I recall, there were noises that were in the house. Yeah. And he and I are watching it, and we're hearing all these noises, and the phone rang, and the two of us jumped a foot.
It was a magnificent job of everything. And you think about it, the special effects in the early 70s were nothing like they are now. Nothing. I mean, they relied on the effects, made effects, and they did a tremendous job. They really did.
This movie was loosely based on a true story. And instead of a little girl, I believe it was a little boy. And then there was, if you lived in the Washington, D.C. area, and I did at this point in my life, there was the Exorcist house, and people would go to the Exorcist house. Yeah. And then they would talk about all the bad things that befell the people who worked on the movie. And there was all kinds of myth and legend about that as well.
Yeah. People died and all kinds of stuff.
I'm just like, man, when the bad guy in the movie or the book is Beelzebub, Satan, Lucifer, Mephistopheles, the cloven-hoofed one, what chance do you have up against the devil, right? But this reminds me, I saw a hilarious tweet a week or two ago, and it was a European dude, who said that he had just discovered the Charlie Daniels Band. And he said, I was listening to The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Yeah.
And he said, it's just the most American song because everywhere else in the world, the devil is considered the ultimate villain. But of course, an American thinks he can beat the devil and then does. Johnny with his fiddle.
That's right. He does.
He does. He beats the devil, right? But the idea of like going up against it's the devil.
Yeah.
How you win in that fiddle made of gold? Like, how are you going up against that? And the thing about The Exorcist that was so scary, book and movie, tell me if this was true for you guys. The more you tried not to think about, like, the devil, the more you thought about the devil, which felt like an invitation to the devil to come and get you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, listen. I didn't go to sleep without praying and casting out the devil in the name of Jesus. Get out of my house. Don't even No. He wasn't coming to get me. If he'd have woke me up, I'd wake up saying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I was terrified.
I can remember talking to a priest about this, and I said, so this whole exorcist thing, I said, this whole thing with the devil, he says, do not talk about it. Do not fool with it. Do not talk to others about it. Do not stir this up. He put the fear of God in me about this because he was like, I said, so is that real? Is that, I'm asking, I'm a teenager. I'm asking questions about this. And he is like, you may not fool with this.
Well, the Catholic Church said they have documented exorcisms, right?
Right, they do.
Mm-hmm.
There's an official procedure for it.
Yes. Ooh, buddy. I mean,
It happens more frequently than you realize. It's taken very seriously by the Catholic Church. Like, it's not a joke. But there are very contemporary exorcisms, like within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like it does happen. And if you believe, like for people that go, oh, there's none of that. I'm sorry, if you are a person of faith, then this is part of that. Is it not? Is this not part of the package?
It is.
Right?
And if you look at all the signs and wonders and miracles that Jesus worked, a lot of that was expelling demons, and calling them out. Because when he would walk up on a person that was possessed, the first thing would happen is the demon inside is saying, "I know who you are. I know who you are," and Jesus would put him out because he didn't want him talking about it. He the guy that had all the demons in him, he put them into the swine as they run off the cliff.
Deviled ham.
Yes.
That's of the devil. So you want to hear?
You know what? Let me tell you something. That used to scare me at the grocery store because you remember it was a little can and it was wrapped in white paper and it had a devil with a pitchfork beside it. And I'm like, oh no. Hey, let me tell you something. You know what? Potted meat. Ain't no devil in potted meat. So potted meat was good.
Ain't no meat in potted meat either. Just lips and ears and whatnot.
Well, listen. Here's the secret to potted meat is don't read the can. Just eat the meat. Just eat the potted meat. Don't read the can. That's the deal right there. That and Vienna sausages both.
Lamar, want to hear something spooky? And I know you really don't want to hear something spooky, but do you want to hear something spooky?
It's daylight. I'm good right now.
Okay. So, we are only capable of perceiving a few dimensions in our reality, right? But that doesn't mean there aren't other dimensions, including spiritual dimensions with both angels and demons, right? Both sides. Yep. So I was reading on one of my insane dark internet rabbit holes that if you want to witness the uncanny, like non-human intelligence or something from another dimension, you go to a public place where there are other people and sit down and focus, make yourself still, try to empty your mind, and just think to yourself, show me. And then open your eyes, and the person making direct eye contact with you, looking right at you, that person is not of this realm. And they say that you have to be very careful with this because you can invoke a demon, which is why I haven't done it, even though I'm curious to see what would happen. And I know you're never going to do it because the words invoke a demon were all you needed to hear.
Rebuke a demon. That's the only thing I think. Rebuke and cast out a demon.
Yeah.
I'm not invoking a demon. And I'm not going to sit. Listen, when I close my eyes and I say the word show me, that's followed by what you want me to do, Jesus. No, it ain't got nothing to do with looking for somebody staring at me to invoke a demon. No, I'm not doing that.
Or an NHI, a non-human intelligence from, somewhere else, wherever that somewhere else.
Are they mind readers? You think? You think the UFO people are the aliens are mind readers?
Everything in the universe is energy, light, and vibration. So if you can get your own internal energies vibrating up or down the scale, that can be what changes your perception of reality. And I know you're wishing you had stayed at Anheuser-Busch. I know you
Max, is there in this realm of discussion, is there any part of this that she's not ready to discuss something that she has read about this or searched out on this? Is she not the expert on all of this
She
stuff?
is. She is.
I love this.
I
stuff.
mean,
yeah.
God, you do. I tell you what, if you go to the park and sit down and do that deal and stare at somebody, let me know how that goes for you. Just explain it to me. That's all. I'll take your word for what you do. I'm not in it. I'm not in it. No.
Oh, you got to be so careful. Got to be so careful because if a demon tags onto you and hitchhikes with you, stays with you, and wreaks unholy havoc on your life and house and your peace, you don't want that, Lamar.
No,
Mm-mm.
not going to have it. Not going to have it. Not doing it. Not doing it. In fact, I'm so uncomfortable with this conversation. I'm going to wrap this thing up so we can all go home while I'm still.
But can I just say we finally
Demon-free?
know now why you don't like going to scary movies.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't. Now I'm drawn
Your brother
to it a
was
little
such
bit,
a big
but
brother,
God,
though. He was such
was.
a big
God.
brother.
This is what my brother would do to
was.
me. I'd go in the
Yeah.
darkness and I'd went to go put my hand on a light switch and it'd be dark and his hand would be there. That freaks you out!
No. He was the best. He was the best at it. And listen, my mama let it go for a little while. And she'd always call it up before it got to bed. I thought, well, why didn't you tell him to stop to start with? She let it go for a while though. So
You know
but,
why?
yeah, we watched
Because
it
it
all.
bought her a couple of minutes apiece.
She didn't have to breathe into a paper bag for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably
Listen,
true.
like as a parent, you're listening with one ear and you're like, boy, I should probably get in there and break that up. But I got 10 more minutes left
Hey,
on
listen,
this show.
As parents, you should know that you're always more concerned when things are quiet.
Yeah.
At least you know where everybody's at when there's something going on. That is true. That is true. All right, that's going to wrap it up for another delving into the family of my redneck lifestyle. But thank y'all so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to us and to tune in. And listen, tell everybody that you know about. Tell them about it. Tell them to give us a shot because we've had fun. Hope you did, and they will too. Also, tell somebody you know about checking out Truly Weird Stuff. Sheri's podcast is excellent, and it's creepy. It's creepy,
weird. True weird.
He's so upset about invoking a demon. He's rushing to get away from it. Listen to him.
It's true.
And she's got a podcast too. It's truly weird stuff. And then
Listen. Go on the website. Tune into it. Do something. Because listen, you hear how she's talking about this stuff. This is just a tinkling of what's on that podcast. It is such a great podcast. So listen, y'all come on back because you know I hate a quitter. And we want to hear from you. What do you think about it? Comments, anything like that. Go on the website or on our app. Go to the. Listen, I'm so discombobulated I can't
even talk.
You can leave us a message on the app, or you can give us a phone call.
Yes.
Just when you leave a message for Lamar on the free Bob and Sheri app or at 844-52-SHERI, just make sure that you're calling from this dimension. Get thee behind me, Satan. Whoa!
Thank you, Jesus, that this is over with. See y'all next time. Until then.